I have an extremely tired and overwhelmed guest tonight. Oh, he's not even a guest. He's a co-host. Nicholas Gibbs is back from Washington, D.C. And what did you meet with the president? Did you check out the venues where there was attacks on his life? Or, I mean, or were you there for other reasons?
Someone's got to take care of them, so I had to go and get some stuff done. We're good now.
All right. Okay, good. Well, all right. On important Tesla business, it's been flat. The stock has been flat since before the earnings. It went up and it went down, it went up and it went, but it's basically right where it was before earnings. So what does that mean and what happens next?
Well, there's two different ways to look at it. Well, let me say this differently. I would say that there's two different outcomes.
Okay.
Either one, a lot of the news of what's to come, robotaxis expanding into different geos, more unsupervised, and all the different robotaxi current locations, cybercab, hopefully the first use for cybercab out there, putting that launch whenever that's going to be. All that could, move the stock. That could be kind of narrative changing. It feels like, in general, Wall Street's kind of like, yeah, well, we're going to wait and see. And, the tension's there between buyers and sellers, and it's kind of just holding everything stagnant. But with that said, if you were to be looking at things like the BX trender or just the charts in general, not looking too good right now.
Mhm.
I think from a weekly perspective, things still look constructive, momentum wise, but earnings definitely kind of mess with Tesla a little bit. If you're looking at just charts, if that's
Right,
like your
right,
kind of thing.
right.
Um, as far as the fundamentals, well, the fundamentals are what they are. They're not going to get much better, I would say, over the next quarter, just because, well, we know they're going to be spending more on capex. I mean, it might get a little better as far as deliveries. It
Yeah,
might get a lot better as far as deliveries, actually.
right,
It sounds like they have kind of an insatiable demand if they're trying to increase volumes at every single factory.
right.
Again, one of the many points that they could have really articulated in a very good way, optimistic way, that they chose not to. And I stand by the fact that they chose not to. That's what I believe. Um, and then again, the whole SpaceX narrative. Larry thinks what 550 by the end of May, maybe June.
Yeah, end of
Um,
June. Yeah, yeah.
I could see that. I still think that there's a chance that that's in play. Um, I mean, we'll see what happens. So I think right now Tesla, you got buyers and sellers, bulls and bears, and all that, but you also have the tension between the market and people who are just looking at momentum or technicals, and even maybe fundamentals versus the story and what's actually happening. And can the story and what we see with our eyes kind of front run what, when everything else changes, when the momentum changes, when the technicals changes, when the fundamentals change. And I'm kind of in that latter camp. I kind of think that, Tesla has been a story stock for a long time. And I don't really care what they said on the earnings calls. If they keep expanding unsupervised, if they start putting cyber cabs into the fleet, it's kind of hard to not think that the market's going to give them credit for it. At the end of the day, Tesla is a N of one company. And in many categories, whether it's profitable electric vehicles, whether it's FSD, whether it's energy, uh, they are unique.
Mhm.
There's a reason why they are the only Mag 7 company that doesn't have the type of profits that the other Mag 7 companies have. There's a reason for that. It's because the potential for Tesla is insane.
Mhm.
So I do think that if they start to materialize with more robotaxi, more cybercabs out there, more Model Ys out there, more new cities, I don't think it takes long for them to surpass Waymo if they actually just put it into second gear. I think
Right.
if they just put things in a second gear, we'll see them surpass Waymo. And then that's an event of its own. Whether the market thinks so or not, I don't know. But I think it would take a lot of people off the sidelines enough to have a move in the stock. And then the last thing I'll say is that with everything kind of coming to this peak of a moment with the SpaceX IPO, I'm leaning more and more towards the idea that if I think there's going to be a merger.
Mhm.
It seems almost a guaranteed at this point. On my podcast that I post on Sundays, I'd mentioned that it seems to me like they are that Tesla or Elon or whoever are trying to normalize
Mhm.
the idea of this
Mhm.
merger. The
Mhm.
All In podcast was once again talking about it,
Mhm.
and they're talking about it as if, yeah, everybody knows it. Like,
Right.
obviously, it's a done deal. It's going to happen.
Right.
And to me, it's like the more you normalize this, the more when it gets announced, it's like, yeah, we all knew that was going to happen, and it becomes kind of a non-event. Um, and then I also kind of agree with Larry that if they do a merger of equals, this might be the reason why they were kind of, I don't know, low energy, low testosterone
Mhm.
seemingly
Mhm.
on the call,
Mhm.
was because you have two camps of people. And again, this I was talking about this on my Sunday podcast. You have two groups of people. You have the people who are like Larry, who are like, merge, yes,
Mhm.
all about it. I'll vote for this.
Mhm.
And you got other people um, who, are pretty vocal in the test community right now saying, I don't know if I want this merger, or Tesla should be paid a premium for this, or, why would we do this right as things are about to get really good for us?
Mhm.
How do you get them to not block the merger? Well,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty simple. Keep the stock where it's at until you get to a point where you're ready to announce it. Then, when you announce it, if the stock shoots up, that's it. It's over. No one's going to vote to send the stock back down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's how you take care of those people. So I imagine I don't know. My best guess is there's something going on there. But yeah, so I don't know. I think right now the stock is at a place where it's like I'm just waiting to see something. Show me something, anything, please. I
Right.
beg you.
So I don't know whether it was Larry or somebody else that said, wouldn't you rather have six shots on goal instead of three shots on goal? So Tesla basically has three big, 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 big ideas, and then about five more next level ideas, which would be big if it wasn't for the giant ideas. And then SpaceX also has three major shots on goal, and then about three or four other really significant shots on goal. So it seems to me that having all of those potentials, even if a couple out of six don't do it, you still have four with TAMs that are, on another planet, so to speak.
Yeah, maybe, but also like how long is it going to take for those other ones to pan out? And does the fact that they take longer make it for an individual harder for them to see appreciation on their investment? There's a
I'd like,
reason why
yeah,
companies are broken up, see more value because you can extract
yeah,
more value
yeah,
out of it, right? You're
yeah.
essentially having a smaller denominator. If you have a bigger denominator, it's harder to see outsized returns.
The GE rule. So yeah, so I've been in favor for a while. I think later on they should probably divest some of the smaller divisions, but obviously keep the giant ones. Um, I think I'm going to ask Brian on tomorrow night. But what do you think? I asked Larry this last night and he completely dismissed it, which, from time to time he thinks my ideas are dumb. But let's say that they never get Starship launched. Let's say there's just the physics aren't there and they just can't get it done. They're launching lots and lots and lots of Falcons, lots and lots and lots of them. They could probably double or triple, quadruple the number of Falcons they're launching. I don't think that would be a hard thing for them to do. Maybe it could be reconstruct. Maybe they could make some minor changes to where they could put the version 3 satellites in there. And maybe it wouldn't matter if they had Starship. Yeah, it's going to dramatically drop the cost of kilogram per into space, but maybe they don't need it in order to get to the goal of tens or hundreds of thousands of satellites up there beaming back to Earth.
I think the problem is the payload. It would be too heavy. Um, I mean, I don't know how big the new satellites are. I don't know how much, volume they take up, what the
Bigger,
mass is.
bigger, yeah.
Yeah. But so I think that's the main reason. At least that's what Elon seemingly has hinted at. I don't think there's an issue with Starship. I mean, I
Right.
think they've already done it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think it's
Everything
just
but.
tweaking it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
everything but. Yeah, yeah.
um, So yeah, I don't know. I'm not concerned about that. I think that'll be fine. But yeah, I just let me just be a voice of contrarian maybe.
Hmm.
I do think that I do think that we need to be more constructive on Tesla as good investors, as good fans of the company. Um, and I think if this isn't all, if this doesn't all play out the way everyone's trying to rationalize it, meaning it has something to do with SpaceX, meaning it's because they're just trying to play it cautious, whatever. And we get to another earnings call and it's the same thing, and we get to another one, it's the same thing. Like at a certain point, I do think that we have to, as investors, really make our voices heard and just ask for better from the company. Because the communication issue, I have to stress, is it's not good. And for us to always explain it away is not good either. You know, I always hear people say, oh, well, this is how they are. You know, this is what they do. They're not good at communicating. They don't prep and all that. And I call BS on that because they have. They've come on there, high energy, giving great talks, you know, said all these great things. You know, it was what, 3 earnings ago? They talked about milestones and they hit every single milestone. They were lots of energy. So it's like whenever we have the good ones, you know, no one says anything because it was a good one.
Yeah.
But when we have the bad ones, everyone just wants to explain it away and, oh, well, Elon's tired or this or that or the other thing. It's like, look, there's a certain point where it's like, just be professional. Like you're going to show up well. And I think they do a lot of disservice themselves with how much ambiguous and open doors that they leave. And that comes back to bite them, you know, or shoot themselves in the foot. So I don't know. I just think there's a certain point where we need to not always just drink the Kool-Aid and think that every little thing that they do is right. There's a lot of missed opportunities. And if the real goal is to save lives, increase the population size, lower the deaths from car accidents, and to get to this next level in autonomy and AI, well, then this is part of it. This is part of what gets us there. So we'll see what happens. You know, if this all comes true, merger, stock shoots up, all this stuff, then great game, guys. Well played. You had the cards, which we can't see your cards. We don't know all that's going on. But
Right.
as a quarter goes by, another quarter goes by, Q3 comes by, Q4 comes by, we'll know if they had cards with nothing. And if they had cards with nothing, we need to kind of, I don't know. I just think we need to have a more honest conversation as Tesla shareholders.
All right. Well, talking about missed opportunities, there was a whole bunch of people out there that didn't go to your show on or your program on Saturday,
Oh,
and so they missed out. And then many of them probably would like to make sure that they get there in May. Well, May sold out too. So you're talking about June.
yeah, we're in June now.
So you're in June now. So May sold out. So now we got the June one. They'd like to sign up for June. I think I have the wrong link. Is that what you told me down in the information below?
Yeah, that link's filled up. So we got no
So
more
if
room
they
in that
if
anymore.
they try to use that link, it will just it'll say never mind or something like that.
Actually, it should forward them
Okay. All right.
to the June one. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. All
So
right. So, but in the meantime, how did it go Saturday? Was it? Did everybody have a good time?
yeah, well, just because people probably might not know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, that.
uh, so if anyone's interested in learning how to trade options on their portfolio without having to sell any of their Tesla shares or Nvidia shares or Palantir shares, essentially just for making extra income or to help you retire early or to pay that Tesla bill that you have for your vehicle. What I do is I teach people how to trade options the way I do on top of my portfolio for extra income. For me, it's been pretty life changing. It's allowed me to be financially independent. It's allowed me to retire my wife, so she can be a full time mom. Yeah, Freudian slip maybe. Uh, but so she can be a full time mother to our newborn son. It's really allowed us, you know, a lot of freedom. So that's what I do. I teach you guys how to do it in a very safe, responsible way. I teach you everything. I don't gatekeep. It was a great course. Again, my whole goal is always to like teach people how to fish, Randy. So I don't want to like make it where people always have to come back to me. I want to show them how to do everything. So like how I find the trades, how I enter the trades, what are the trades, what are options? Like we go from the basics to everything I do, to finding, to placing, to exiting the trades, what I look for, how I actually buy leaps on Tesla, how I sell cover calls so my shares don't get called away, right? All of those mechanics is what I teach. But the course was phenomenal this Saturday, just absolutely unreal. Just so many beautiful people. I came and stressed. We went for 13 straight hours.
13 hours?
13 straight hours. Yes, it was a marathon. And you might be wondering, like, oh my God, why so long? Listen, the content itself will probably last like 6 to 7 hours.
Okay.
But my commitment to everybody is I'm going to stay on until I've answered every question you have.
Right.
So I stay on there and I just grind and grind and grind. Because, we don't have a lot of time together and I want to make sure it's valuable.
Yeah.
The whole point of this is I want people to experience financial independence. And I can't tell you how many people, especially, so I also do one-on-one coaching. And on that, Randy, there's so many people that tell me, I'm wealthy on paper, but I don't know how to extract the money and I don't want to sell my shares.
Right.
Like, yeah, I get it. 100% get it.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, just one, like, there's this lady who was on the call or during the course. And she's been watching me for a long time, apparently. And she's been, like slowly learning how to trade options, the way I do it, like picking up things I've said here or there. And the entire course, she's not really talking much or anything. And I like to engage with people constantly. And I'm just sitting there like feeling bad. I kind of wear my heart in my sleeves. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, man, like I didn't hear much from her. Like I hope this was valuable for her. And at the very end, she comes off mute and she's like, I just want to let you know. And this is not talking about anyone's age, but this is the older lady. Anyways, but she was like, you wouldn't believe it. She's sitting there saying she's been watching me for so long and she started trading options recently because of me. And in the last 2 months, she's made $75,000 in just the last 2 months. I was like, I'm literally watching her for all 13 hours because, I have everybody up here where I can see as I'm like teaching. Yeah. And I'm just watching, like feeling so guilty the whole time. Like, man, I really hope she's getting value out of this. And then she drops that bomb. I was like, you just made my day. Like all this was so worth it. And afterwards, I'm debriefing. A friend of mine, Ben, he helps me with the courses. He took class, last year, but we debrief after. And the first thing he says to me is like, I was exhausted. I was tired, spent 13 hours. And then she says that, and he's like, I'm so energized now. I was like, dude, I know. It's like when people see it, like the light, it's like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize this was possible. And so anyways, it makes it all worth it. But anyways, I don't mean to go on like storytelling here.
It's okay. It's all right. It's like, this is a very important part of what we're trying to do on this channel. In fact, I wanted to ask you, because this morning I had somebody on my early show, because my early show, my Sunday night show, and even these shows to a great extent, my goal is to cover not just Tesla stock on fundamentals and the stock itself, the fundamentals of the company, the directionality of the company, the future, what we think is going to happen, but also the macro and the economic picture that's out there. And one guy said this morning, he said, on the comments, I don't want to make fun of him because he might be a good watcher. But anyway, he says, I only watch you, Randy, in order to see what's happening with Tesla. I don't watch it for the macro and for the economic thing. And my response to him was, you're not going to be the same trader. You're going to be a much better trader if you're paying attention to the macro and paying attention to the general economy. I don't care if you're just if 100% of your stock holdings are in Tesla, you're still going to be a better trader and make better decisions if you watch those.
I could not agree with you more. It's actually something we talk about during the course. I talk about having market awareness. You need to have market awareness, even if you're only ever placing trades on Tesla. Even if your whole strategy is just to sell cover calls. Okay, selling cover calls, like we all make it sound so simple, but there's a right way and a wrong way to do it.
Right.
And the truth is, like, and that's why I even started all this, was because so many people were losing money on what should be the safest trade you can do. It should be impossible for you to lose money selling cover calls.
Yeah.
But people don't know how to do it properly.
Yeah.
And again, it's simple on the whiteboard on paper. And what I talk about nonstop in the course is I take the theoretical and I show you what it actually looks like in the real world. Because in the real world, yeah, the theoretical is true textbook when the world's static, but when the world's dynamic, it's not quite that simple. And so to your point, whether you have conflicts in Iran, whether you have the Greenland stuff, whether you have Jerome Powell saying something, Fed rates raising rates, I mean, Tesla's about to announce something or delivery number, like all these things, you have to have your market awareness in order to know, are you doing something that is going to be a smart move or a bad move? And if you're just myopically focused on Tesla only and you don't have your aperture open to understand what else could impact it, that might be the difference between you giving up your shares at a price you never even wanted to, or you making it consistent $10,000, $15,000 a month. Like that's the difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, I honestly, I think one of the things we love talking together about is, yeah, we love talking about Tesla, but we also like interweaving the geopolitics or just the macro, what's happening, other stocks, like just everything it all ties together. It's a cohesive world. You can't look at things on their own. Anyways, yeah. Long way of saying Randy's right.
So if we look at some of those other things right now, we've got the historic day tomorrow. I mean, I really think it's historic. I think it's a historic week, and I think it's a historic day tomorrow. I asked Grok about this because I know you've probably followed it closer than me in the 20 years, 19, 18 years that you've been doing the market. But for the last 3.5 years, nobody's followed it closer than me, okay? Because I do it in the morning, I do it at night, and I look at the numbers every single day and read the news all day. I don't think there's ever been a time when you have like 5 of the top 7 S&P stocks reporting in 1 week, 4 in 1 day. And the same week, you've got the Fed, you've got the PCE, you've got the GDP, it just goes on and on and on this week. So I'm not sure we've ever had a week like this. And at the beginning of the week, I said, I think it's going to be a flat week because I think people are going to be on the sidelines saying, I'm going to wait till it's over. I'm not going to try to find my way through this mess. Anyway, what's your thinking about this crazy day tomorrow and the crazy rest of the week?
Yeah, this is, the way I phrased it on my Sunday pod was, it's do or die week is how I put it. But it is, if you think about it. So we got the markets hitting all-time highs.
Right.
And we have everything you just laid out, right? And more, right? Like the DOJ probe is now over. Warsh is set to clear. Tillis is approving it, right? So I don't even think that's priced in yet.
Right.
And then it looks like Iran might be trying to like actually get something done here. Didn't see that coming. I thought they were just going to keep doing what they're doing, right? So all kinds of like this is going to be a long, busy week on top of everything else you mentioned. So my opinion is that, and I don't know what's going to happen. None of us know, right? We need to have these companies come out and deliver a really good earnings, really good guidance. My opinion is that, and this is, I would say, kind of a contrarian opinion.
Okay.
Because the market's at all-time highs. I think it keeps going higher, which is hard to say because we've had such a big rebound. But what I've been saying for 4 weeks now to everybody on X and on YouTube is that I think we are going to mimic a 2025 V-shaped recovery. The problem, or the thing that scares me, is that it has started and it is more aggressive than what it was last year. And that's kind of crazy to think about. But so the reason I think we're going to keep going higher is because in Q1, or just call it the last round of earnings we had, everybody, all the big companies talked about how much more they're going to increase their capital expenditures.
Right.
They all got punished for that.
Yeah.
And then guess what companies started really turning up their stock prices.
Right, right.
All the companies that are part of the picks and shovels. So it's not NVIDIA anymore. It's NVIDIA, it's SanDisk, it's Micron, it's Intel, it's the clouds, it's the energy companies. Everything that surrounds the infrastructure play of anything AI is booming.
Right.
Why is it? Well, we know where the CapEx dollars are going. It's not that hard. Just follow the money. Right. Big companies that make a lot of money are taking that money, putting it into the infrastructure so that then they can build more AI or sell more AI or train more AI. So then they can take that and sell it to enterprises so that enterprises can pay them and they can get more money. They can reinvest back in the CapEx and we continue this virtuous cycle. That's what's happening right now. And it's at a scale we have never seen.
Right.
And we have bottlenecks, especially in memory, in GPUs, in data centers, in real estate, in energy. And so it's very clear that all this is going to rise. And if all this infrastructure rises, well, that's not even where the money is going to be made. The real money is going to be on what's built on top of it. So we're kind of in just this crazy moment. And you couple with that the fact that we are the place to invest right now in the world. We just are. You couple with that Jerome Powell drama, wars coming in, potential rate cuts happening. Add in the Iran conflict ending, the UAE, United Arab Emirates, leaving OPEC plus, world orders changing. The U.S. has more clients than ever to sell their oil to. It's just, I don't know what you can throw at this market to keep it down at this point. And so to me, any pullback is worth buying up. And just to add to it, I don't know if you saw, but Bloom Energy and Seagate both had earnings today. Bloom Energy, okay? This is a big energy play for infrastructure, data centers, all that.
Right.
I forget the exact numbers, but 200% growth year over year. Right. Guiding for even more. Right. I think their margin of profits were up 87%, like quarter over quarter. Like, their numbers are just insane. Right. Seagate, same thing, and it's carrying everything in the aftermarkets. So if you look across the board, I mean, Micron, for example, if my phone would load, Micron's up 3% in the aftermarkets. SanDisk is up 4.1% in the aftermarkets. I mean, Bloom Energy is up 11.7% in the aftermarkets. Like, this is what I'm saying. So I don't think things are going to stay flat. And I think this is the appetizer. It's the hors d'oeuvres before we get to the real meat, which is the Mag 7. So caution, always be paranoid, because when everyone's euphoric, that's when you really need to start like steel manning and try to think, where am I wrong? But I'm trying to, and I can't see it other than maybe oil. But even then, current oil prices,
not that bad.
It's normal for mid 2000 teens. Yeah. Like, these are normal prices in 2015, 16, like 2013. Like, this is where oil was. So I don't know. That's my take.
So Tom Lee thinks that we're going to have this run up, and then he thinks we're going to have a 20% run, pullback, and then we're going to run up again. It'll be another V-shaped recovery. I hadn't thought about it. I couldn't figure out why he thought that was going to happen until what you just said. I could see us having blowout numbers tomorrow. Blowout numbers. Apple's obviously going to blow out the numbers. And all of a sudden, we're off to the races. And instead of his 7,700 on the S&P, maybe we go to right straight to 8,000 or something, and we get over exuberant. The fundamentals will be there. The foundation pieces in the economy will be there, but the market will go, no, we can't have 25 times. We can't have 25 PE for the entire S&P. So it might be a crash back just because of getting out over our skis.
So can I give you or at least the audience, an interesting fact? So in October of last year, we had the same kind of run up, right? And then we got all this fear, like, oh my God, the price to earnings ratio for the S&P, right, in aggregate is just way over its skis. It's literally at the levels that we always get a pullback. And sure enough, we saw that, right? Yeah. And it actually started in November of last year, but that was kind of start off a little bit with Michael Burry and once again, AI bubble, all that stuff, right? By the way, notice anything interesting this morning? Everyone's freaking out about AI bubble again after OpenAI stuff. Okay, yeah.
We'll come back to that.
How many times can we rinse and repeat the same, fear story? Anyways, so here's what's crazy. Right now, while we sit here at all-time highs, because all these companies have been printing so much profit, we are cheaper now than we were back in October.
Right. Yes.
Okay. So this tells you we are not overextended. We have room to run, which is one of the other reasons why I think that we continue to grind higher. I do think that we will eventually, like always, right? We get to a point where we kind of peaked out. And I think we'll know it when we see it, because nobody will be talking about it except for Randy and me. And that's when I would say, take some profits. At the end of the day, we're here to make money, and we're not here to give the money back to Mr. Market. So
OpenAI, you brought it up. Why? So to alert the crowd, if they didn't hear this already, which they'd have to be under a rock, but OpenAI, it's reported by the Wall Street Journal, missed on their revenue expectations for I don't know, the last month or something, and there was a internal document that was supposedly circulated, which said, "Oh, if we don't get back on track, we're going to have some real problems here coming up." So, what did you think? A false narrative. Why does it even matter? I don't know. Let me know what you think.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, this was based off of metrics for end of year that they have self-imposed themselves. All right. So I just want to put things in context.
Mhm.
So this was for end of 2025. We are 5 months removed from that. Okay. So what I don't like is when, and I talk about this a lot with my one-on-one students. We got to figure out, how are we being programmed? Why do we think the things we think? And we need to always try to steel man, even if we have a lot of conviction in it. Like the things you had the most conviction on, I think, are the things that you should be in there talking to Grok or Claude or ChatGPT and trying to steel man against yourself to see, are there holes in my thinking? Because a lot of times we don't know why we think the things we think, but we think them. And I see that a lot in people these days. Anyways, all that just to say, the media and the journal in this case, they wrote this as if this was fresh news, and it wasn't. They had been sitting on this, waiting for this case to start so that they could get maximum clicks towards this article. All right. I think that's manipulation.
That is.
I don't think that's cool.
No.
I think there's something wrong with that. Look, I'm not a big I'm just not a Sam Altman fan. I obviously, I'm biased. I'm team Elon, but in general, the guy's just scummy. I don't like him. I don't like the way he talks. I don't like the way he walks. Just not the kind of guy. I mean, it just says a lot when you have your team leave, they go start Anthropic, and now look what they're doing. Yeah. And they're all, from the people who didn't like you and left. It just tells me a lot. But even with that said, it's not cool to do that to them, because he isn't the company. The company's made up with a bunch of people. Right. And the way this is portrayed is as if they're not working hard, and all the stuff they've done internally isn't having good results, because they clearly are. They are growing. And even OpenAI came out and said, that's old. We don't have those issues anymore. But don't forget, they had the code red and all that stuff, right? Yeah, you remember that? Yeah. That was a while ago. Yeah. Where do you think all this was coming from? So I don't like that. I think there's something gross about that. And so again, that's where I go full circle back to understand how you're being manipulated, or how people are trying to manipulate you. Follow the money. Why would they do that? Well, because guess when they're going to get maximum clicks, Randy?
Yeah.
When there's a Sam Altman, Elon Musk loss or trial that starts today. So not only do you get the trial, the OpenAI, but then you get the extra clicks from Elon Musk. I mean, come on. Yeah. It's smart business maybe, but maybe not, because it makes you look dishonest.
So speaking of steel manning, for months now, I've been steel manning the idea that the AI run up, or the AI build out, the chip manufacturing, et cetera, does not have an infinite run. Now I want to come back from that. Okay. Not quite, it doesn't have an infinite run, but that there's five, six, seven players in the field, more players coming on. Do we get, maybe not this year, maybe it's next year, do we get a major player that gets left out, gets left behind and maybe goes out of business?
Say more, like Intel and AMD. What do you mean?
It could be one of the Mag 7. It could be one of the next level down that are
Okay.
the shovel picks and shovels guys. It could
So
be
you're saying a company in general,
a
not
company,
specifically in the chip
one
space.
of the let's say one of the top 20 companies that are now in the getting those kind of pops in their shares prices, etc.
You know, if there are two that I would think off the top of my head, it would be Apple and Microsoft,
Wow.
which kind of sounds crazy.
Yeah.
And a little bit about why each. So Apple, I feel like Apple is still, and don't look, I'm an Apple guy. I've got 3 Macs right in front of me. I've an iPad. Like I'm an Apple guy through and through. First stock I ever bought in my life was Apple before the iPhone ever came out. Like I'm an Apple guy. But I think they're riding on their legacy. And I don't know what's going to happen with this new CEO. I forget his name. But he might be able to change things around. But right now, it seems like it's not even right now. Excuse me. For the last maybe 12, 13 years, it seems like they haven't had a true vision. Yes, they've done well business-wise, but Apple was more than just business. They made you feel a certain way.
Right.
They had and the stuff they do right now, don't get me wrong, they still do it really well. But they have been stuck on the same product roadmap from the day Steve Jobs left the company.
Right.
They've added a couple good things, don't get me wrong. AirPods, but I would argue that they bought that technology from the acquisition of Beats. Apple Wallet, I think that was brilliant. That was really good. But I still don't think that that's kind of that revolutionary product that people go buy. It became a feature of the product. Don't get me wrong. It's like I don't like carrying my wallet. I pay everything on my phone.
Yeah.
Like it seems crazy to me to like carry or like to have to pull out your credit card. But again, that's feature. That's not product. So they haven't really been able to step into this new, oh, we didn't even know we needed this, and here it is kind of moment.
Yeah.
And now, even with this whole AI movement, they don't even have something out there.
Yeah.
Like not even a shot on goal, like you were talking about before.
Yeah.
You know, they have zero.
Yeah.
We don't see anything.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a risk that keeps happening. Don't get me wrong. They're a big company. I'm still going to keep buying iPhones until something else happens where we don't need phones. I'm still going to buy a Mac.
Yeah.
That's not going to stop.
Right.
So they will continue. But will they become more of a AT&T kind of company? You know, just, yeah, they're there. They're good. They're solid. They pay a good dividend. They do a lot of buybacks. Okay. And then why Microsoft? Well, Microsoft now has this big tension and tear with OpenAI. So they are no longer exclusive. And Microsoft, in my opinion, has the biggest Achilles heel out of the big 3 clouds. The big 3 clouds are Google, Amazon, and Microsoft.
Right.
Now, the Achilles heel for Microsoft is that they kind of are just that, just Microsoft. Like they don't have anything else. Whereas Google has YouTube. Google has ads.
Yeah.
Google has Waymo. Google has diversification. Google has DeepMind, right? Amazon, obviously, we go on and on, right? Amazon has all theirs, right? They're trying to get into satellites in space. They obviously have Amazon.com. They've got Whole Foods. They
sell my
have
books.
The whole infrastructure.
They sell my
They
books.
sell your books.
Yeah.
So, and to me, the companies are going to stand the test of time. You know, one of the things I talk about in the options crash course um, is my philosophy in investing that has allowed me to become financially independent, retire my wife, and all that. Is that I want to be very narrow and all in a, maybe not even a handful, just a few companies. And then I want to be diversified in my trading against it so I can generate extra
Right.
income on top of that while I let those shares appreciate, right?
Right.
A 2-for-1 kind of situation.
Mhm.
But so if you think about, okay, what are those companies that will be able to, that you can have true conviction in and will sustain the test of time? Well, to me, it's the companies that have multiple companies within them. Amazon, Google, Tesla, Meta's becoming one of those, right? So those are the type of companies I think are going to be here for a long time. If I took everybody back 10 years ago and said, hey, what companies would you want to invest in? You know who everyone would pick? Microsoft, Tesla, Google, Nvidia, Netflix, right? All these obvious companies. It was so obvious. The Mag 7, it was obvious. Today, I think the same thing's happening where it's very obvious, but it's Tesla, Google, and Amazon. I think there will be other ones, but those three are by far the obvious ones that will still be here in 10, 15 years.
Got it.
So
Got it. Got it.
don't know if that
Okay.
answered your question, but
All right. No, that's a good
that's
answer.
where I'm
Good
at.
answer. I liked it. Okay. So, let's see. We had, this was kind of a sidebar. I thought it was fun. The commission, um, in California, I'm forgetting their name now, the Space Commission. It's not Space Commission. Maybe it's the, ah, the shore, these guys that had power over Tesla, I mean, over SpaceX with regard to launches, Coastal Commission,
The
that
Coastal
Coastal
Commission,
Commission,
yeah.
yes. So the Coastal Commission admits some officials made politically biased and improper statements against SpaceX and Elon Musk. It formally apologized for those remarks and agrees it will never, ever do that again. And they will not require coastal permits for most launch operations out of Vandenberg. That, of course, is a result of Elon winning the trial against them. So he's got one win this week.
I think he might get 1.5 this by the time this is all said and done.
So you think he's going to prevail in the in against
Kinda.
kind of, okay, all right,
I
okay,
think I think I think Elon's gonna get a pound of flesh and that's what will happen, but I don't think he'll necessarily prevail.
oh, okay, all right.
But I think
We'll
I
get
think
there to something.
he'll yeah, he'll get a big bite out of somehow he'll get something, but I don't think he'll get what he ultimately would like.
Gotcha, gotcha.
What do you think?
It's really hard. So as a law school graduate, I always have a different look, a different, way of thinking about these things. And so I've been watching the basic arguments going back and forth, and it would be a slam dunk if it wasn't for the fact that Elon at one point sent an email saying, well, here's how
Yeah.
we could take it. Here's how we could, make it into a for-profit and so, Elon's going to argue that the way he was going to do that would have made the charitable part of it still extremely well off and be able to throw off all kinds of money. And but I think that could be a good reason for thinking that they come up with a decision against Sam in principle and say, but there was a mitigation, some mitigation in terms of statements by Elon. And so
Hmm.
the number, like you say, might be smaller. But I think if he hadn't sent that one email, I think this would have been
Well,
over. They would have never even gone to trial.
it makes me wonder though, like why not just say, yeah, I was wrong. I
Yeah,
would have been wrong too.
right.
Two
I
wrongs don't
know.
make it right. Just because I also would have been the wrong doesn't make this
Yeah,
not wrong now,
yeah, yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right. So another Tesla question is, where do you come down now after a week of thinking, almost a week of thinking about it, on how many cybercabs there will be, cybercabs and/or robotaxis will be on the road by the end of the year? I'm on record as saying 5 to 10,000, and you say
Cyber cabs or just
cybercabs
robotaxis,
and
period?
robotaxi combined. Yeah.
Um, I say that they surpass Waymo this year.
So that would be, call it 3,000, 4,000, somewhere in there
Yeah.
as a minimum.
So
Okay. All right.
yeah, yeah. I think they need to surpass Waymo this year. They have to.
If they
I
don't,
think
okay.
I think I just think it's important for them to do that.
If,
Um,
if
Go
they
ahead.
don't throttle the ramp, Grok tells me that they would have to make at least five and probably more like 10,000 by the end of the year of the cybercabs alone. So will they throttle production? Will they put them in parking garages? What do you think? What do you think happens that keeps them from doing 5,000 of cybercabs alone, or maybe even 10, much less putting Model Ys out there?
Well, here's my question. When are they actually going to put it into if they're officially in production? When do they start going into the fleet?
Yeah, I would say soon.
Yeah. So to me, it's like it just depends on that.
Okay.
Because if we could just see them start going to the fleet, that's when I'll start getting excited because like it's like okay, well now we got somewhere to put these,
Hmm.
and once you have one there, it's like okay, well now we can hopefully start to ramp it up a little bit.
Hmm. Hmm.
But it'll, I mean, we've seen them driving around, right?
Hmm.
And I'm pretty sure we've seen them without anyone in it, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't know. I'm
that's
waiting
gonna
for
be
that day where
that's gonna
someone
be.
says, "Hey, I'm the first one to hail," or or someone just hails one. Is like, "Oh my god, it's a cyber cat."
All right, let's go to the general economy for a second. You and I have had many discussions about the housing prices and housing, where housing is going. I'm going to start this by saying that Grok and I had another long conversation today where Grok admitted, no, I didn't admit, he agreed with me that I was the very first person ever, no pundits, no CNBC, no Fed, no government official. I was the very first person in the world to say that we would only have 20,000 jobs a month as being equilibrium. That would be all that we would need to keep our numbers the same. That was going to be because of outmigration. And finally, by August, I was saying that in March, April, according to Grok. By August, some other people started saying, oh, look, I think that the new number is only going to be 20,000 instead of 110 or 120,000. So I now having, and that's all based on demographics and just taking the numbers and making what it was pretty obvious to me. Well, my new
Hmm.
obvious thing, and it's been obvious to me for a while, is that what was true for jobs is going to be true for housing. And right now, we're making over 1 million new units a year between residential and rentals. I'm going to make the claim that we're only going to need 500,000 new residential units per year because
Oh,
we're only going to be adding 500,000 to in terms of household formations going forward, unless the administration decides we need to really increase the number of immigrants.
okay, that's interesting.
So, of
So, what
course,
do you think happens to housing, price wise?
so I think that we're going to continue to go up this year because there's pent-up demand, and I think that there's still a historically low demand. I think rentals are done. Rentals are flat. They're not going up. They've already been flat for a year. I think they continue to be flat. I think it won't be huge this year. But then what happens over this winter and into spring of next year in terms of units being built will really tell us what's going to happen next year in terms
Hmm.
of housing prices. So if they continue to build 1,000,003 units next year, and prices come down because of it, will that mean more people they can not room anymore? They don't have to use a roommate anymore, or they can finally get married, or I don't know, whatever. Sure, there's always a little bit of that, which helps the market for a while, but not for long. And
Yeah.
eventually, I think we have to look at what's happened to Japan, what happened to China. If you don't make babies, housing prices are eventually going to go down.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I've been saying this for a while that I think that we're gonna have a good housing season.
Yeah,
Um, and I think we kind of are right now, to be
right,
honest. I had some friends who had their house up for sale, and they were a little stressed about it because they put it up on February, but last week it sold.
sold.
It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
and like you always get that. It's like when you first put it up for sale,
Mhm.
when you don't know when it's going to happen or if it's going to happen, you're like, oh man, it's never going to happen. Like, what's going on? Whatever. And then when it happens, like, oh, that actually didn't take that long, especially
Right.
since we posted on February, like when you think about that, it's like,
Sold it in April.
yeah,
Yeah. That used to be normal. That was average. And
yeah.
quite frankly, 30-year fixed are still only at 6.35. That's historically middle ground. So it's super normal. I mean, people aren't used to it because we were sitting at, 3 and 4 for so long, but that's really a doable thing is 6.35. So anyway, I thought I'm on the record now on that. So I'm going to be the very first in
And
the country.
congrats.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
congrats on your victorious prediction.
Hey, we'll see if I can get two in a row.
um, do you think Warsh cuts rates out the gate? Or do you think he obviously he's gonna try to convince everybody, but do you think they're successful at it?
I think that he's kind of backing away. I
Okay.
think that the Treasury Secretary Benson came out and said this is not a good time to cut rates.
Okay. I
Um,
didn't know he said that.
that was like a week ago. He said, while the price of oil is this high, I think we should not cut right now. Now, Besant won't have a meeting until June. I'm sorry, Besant, Warsh.
Warsh.
His
Yeah.
first meeting won't be till June. Okay, there's no meeting in May. So his first time up at bat will be June. There's a lot can happen in
Yeah.
the next 6 weeks. So whether they will cut in June or not, I think right now is an open question. I think you know my position on it, which is that the cutting of the Fed rate impacts mostly durables, household and real estate construction. It doesn't really impact the 10-year, 30-year mortgages. It also helps.
Well,
It also helps what do you want to call it? The commercial real estate property holders who need to refinance, and it's based more on the Fed rate. Companies who need to refinance is based on the Fed rate. So it helps a bunch of categories, but people shouldn't expect it to bring the 30-year down, I mean, the 10-year down, or bring the mortgage rates down.
yeah. What I was going to say is I think it affects two main areas that are consequential. One, it's just business loans, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're all pegged off of the off prime.
Mhm.
But us paying our debts, if
Yeah.
we could lower rates, then
Right.
our interest payments are
Yes.
lower.
Yes.
So I think that's critical. And so if you could lower that
Mhm.
and you could get businesses to be able to take out more cost effective loans,
Mhm.
that stimulates the economy. That's good.
Yep. 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 So
So
I think neither one of those are inflationary because those are the very aspects of the economy that are still not doing well.
yeah.
So I think it stimulates the part of the economy that isn't doing well. And anyway, we'll see what Warsh does. But right now, he sounds like he's kind of backed off from an immediate cut. But my guess will be he will be aggressive when he thinks the time is right.
Yeah, you're probably right. And it's also probably smart as you're trying to actually get confirmed to
Yeah.
just, play it easy.
There is that too. Well, we've got Tesla almost putting all of their losses for the day back up. We're back up to 377.91, buck
Oh yeah,
91 after the
that's nice.
close. Um, and then if we go over to, so again, you're not making a call for the rest of the week on Tesla? Flat, up a little, down a little?
I'd probably go up.
Probably
I
go
think the
up?
whole market's going to go up.
Okay. Okay. After tomorrow, they'll wait all day and then,
Oh, I have no idea. I
yeah,
don't know
because
when.
you got so much tomorrow. It's nuts. Fed, you've got, I mean, I would be sitting on the sidelines. I'd be going, wait, I'll wait till Thursday. All right, let's see. Looking at the bonds. Um, we got now mine's being slow. Maybe it's CNBC. Bonds, okay, taking a little bit off after the run up today, but we're sitting at 3.5. I'm sorry, 4.35. As Larry points out, and a couple of other people have pointed out, given that we're in a war, given the price of oil, this is probably not too bad.
Oh, I agree.
Okay.
I definitely agree. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Oil up, I'm sorry, down 0.51. So everything's modified in the after hours tonight. It's modified. Maybe that's because now what I heard today, but I couldn't find a clear notification on it, was that Trump was like, okay, I am ready to open the Straits of Hormuz and
Yeah.
go get the uranium myself. I've got the 42nd, and I've got all these guys on the ships now, the Rangers and all these guys, and I'm just gonna do it.
Wait, when did he say that? Or
Yeah, the Rangers have been deployed. Special Forces have been deployed. The 42nd Airborne has been deployed. They're all in the
82nd?
Gulf. They're all in the Gulf. 82nd, yes, 82nd. They're all deployed. They're in the Gulf. On
No,
on
I know that, but what he post that made you think that they're going
Well,
to go in?
basically that does it, right? And then he says, "Look, Iran, you got a day or two. It's time to make it happen."
Mm,
But just that show of force.
yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I
Yeah.
mean, I
I
here's
know what
my
you're
take.
thinking. I know what you're
What am
thinking.
I thinking? What am I thinking?
You're thinking, go for it, Trump.
No,
Oh,
honestly, that's not what I'm thinking. I'm
okay.
thinking, why bother? Why
Why bother with the uranium or opening the straits, or why
the
bother?
uranium? Just leave it. And if they try to start going in there extracting it, we got these really good bombers that can go in there. You know,
I'm just
extract
a
it.
I'm a finish the job guy. Finish the job. Don't have to come back to this in 5 years or 3 years because the next president may be feckless. We've had a
Yeah,
couple of those.
yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah. So finish the job. I don't know. So I'm thinking to myself, if they don't do it, I will watch with a little bit of glee as he finishes the job. So gold. So how come gold is no longer a storehouse of value, where people go when things are rough?
Used to be at least.
Yeah, used to be. All right, gold's down a
Even
little bit.
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin is now the new except it's at 50% of where it was. Well, not quite. It's down, what, 30, 40%? Down 385 today, 76,000. Ethereum's actually up a little bit.
Actually, Bitcoin's. I can't really talk much about Bitcoin because Tesla's not
Yeah.
doing too better
Yeah.
right now either.
Yeah. Right. Um, Equities all up a tiny bit. So Dow up 0.16, S&P up 0.11, and the NASDAQ up 0.26. So that's where we are going into tomorrow.
Yeah, I think you're going to see memory chips run tomorrow,
Yeah, yeah,
and then, like you said, it's going to get crazy. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I don't know how I don't know how I'll be able to report all of it adequately tomorrow. That's going to be the test.
you got it.
All right, Nicholas Gibbs, thank you as always for jumping on. And everybody needs to sign up for his course. Make sure you mention my name multiple times so there's no messing up. Anyway, so it's as always, Nick, it's been great having you on. And to all of you guys out there, have a great day tomorrow. I hope it's really exciting. And it's been great talking to you.
Cheers.